stuff, and maybe you had an awful divorce that you were battling through. Maybe you were trying to find God, and you showed up to this church and you didn't have it all together, and you were quickly looked at and judged and all of these things. I'm sorry for anybody in this chat that has happened to. But the problem isn't Jesus, the problem isn't the church, the problem is the people, right? What we do is we take God's perfect idea for church and we interject our own opinions, our own ideas, our own lens, and we kind of tweak it a little bit. We jack it up sometimes. And I won't say this for everybody, but there are quite a few of us that believe in grace. There are quite a few of us that believe in second, third, fourth, fifth, 20th, 1,000th chances. Okay? I can't speak for everybody in all of Christianity, but I can speak for the people of Relate Church. And I know who we are, and I know what we're about. And that won't happen here. Maybe you think Christians are all judgmental, and you think that we just it's all about hype, right? Oh, they hype up Jesus, but when you get around them in the office building on Monday morning, they're not the same hype. It's not all... No, we believe in hope. Hype is empty. Hope is full. So we believe in hope. We believe that God gave us the same grace that He is leading you to right now. So how do we judge anybody, right? And then I want you to think about this. How many of you guys ever heard the word sin, right? Maybe you grew up in Catholic school and they were like, oh, you're a dirty little sinner, and they'd hit you over the knuckles with the ruler or whatever they used to do, right? Maybe you heard the word sin and you thought, oh, I hate that word. It's nasty. How could a 3-letter word make us so mad, right? Let me give you my definition of sin. We talked about sin last week. We said that sin was missing the mark. And here's a great definition for what sin is. Sin is looking for the right things in the wrong place. I'm going to say it again. Sin is looking for the right things in the wrong place. Right? Let me give you an example. You want to you want to break away from the pain in your life. You want to break away from the hurt. And maybe it's well-founded. Maybe you were abused. Maybe physically, emotionally, sexually, something has happened in your life. And you want to break away from that. And so you look for any way you can to get away from that pain. And what you find is that drugs are that release. And so you're looking for the right thing. You're looking for the right thing in the wrong place, right? Let me give you another example. Man, I have talked to so many people with relationship struggles, and you're looking for a spouse and a person or somebody that will love you unconditionally, will never leave you, will never make you mad, will never make you upset, right? And every husband and every wife says, amen, we want that, right? Maybe you're in quarantine a few weeks now and you're like at your wit's end with your spouse. We're looking for that perfect person that will complete us. So we jump around from relationship to relationship to relationship to relationship. Maybe you're just looking for love and you just feel like physical intimacy is the only way that you've ever felt perfectly loved. So you go from person to person to person to person to find the need in the wrong place. So that's all sin is. Sin is just looking for the right thing in the wrong place. I want to look at John chapter 4 today. We're going to look at this story of the woman at the well. And starting in verse 7, it says this: Soon a Samaritan woman came to draw water, and Jesus said to her, "Please give me a drink." I want to stop for a second. Who spoke first? Who showed up to the well and spoke first? Look at it again, verse 7. Soon a Samaritan woman came to draw water, and Jesus said to her. This is just a small picture of the grace of God in our life. All the way back in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve sinned, and who came looking for them? There are 2 people on the earth. Do you really think God couldn't find them? You really think He didn't know where they were at? He came and spoke to them and said, hey, where are you? And maybe He meant that in more of a, where are you right now? What are you doing? And so Jesus speaks, and even if we have walked away, maybe you're here today and you've walked away from God, you kind of turned your back on Him, and you're giving Him one last chance here. Even if we've walked away from God, He will set the appointment right now. Right now, this is your appointment with God. Just to start the conversation again. Hey, I know you don't really love me right now, but I want to give this another shot. Right? And then we go on verse 9, it says, the woman was surprised, for the Jews refused to have anything to do with the Samaritans. She said to Jesus, you're a Jew, and I'm a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink? Check out Jesus' reply, verse 10. Jesus replied, if only you knew the gift that God has for you and who you are speaking to, you would ask me, and I would give you living water. Let me stop. If you only knew what God had for you. Wow. Look, verse 10. Jesus replied, if you only knew the gift God has for you. And I know we're meeting digitally today. I know I'm not in your living room with you. I'm not hanging at your house because of coronavirus, but I'm telling you this morning, if you only knew the gift that God has for you, man, if you could only get a glimpse of the gift that God has for you. And then it says, and if you would know who you were speaking to, you would ask me, and I would give you living water. I would give you living water. Verse 11, she gets real practical, right? I'm practical. You're probably practical. She looks at Jesus, and when back in the day, there was no buckets at the well. You got to bring your own bucket, BYOB. Bring your own bucket, right? And bring your own rope. You got to tie a rope to the bucket and lower it into the well and then bring it out of the well. In verse 11, she says, but sir, you don't have a rope or a bucket, she said. And this well is very deep. Where would you get this living water? I want to pick this apart for a minute. Do you see what she's saying? There's a little bit of a, she's implying that Jesus is not equipped to meet the need. Right? The need is water, and He's not equipped to meet the need. You don't even have what I need to do what you've asked me to do. Have you ever felt that way? That God's like this cosmic vending machine type of God, and He wants you to do this stuff, and then He doesn't give you the tools you need to do it. And you stand there and you go, how am I supposed to get water out of this well? Let's get real. The part of me that's hurting today, God, maybe this is you. The part of me that is hurting today is real deep. I mean, we're talking when I was 5 years old, something happened to me in my life, and I have been paying for it ever since. The scars are deep. And I don't know, God, if you have what it takes to reach in and fix them. I don't know that you can get deep enough. Maybe it's parent issues. Maybe your mom, maybe your dad, maybe something happened and it runs deep. And it's been eating you up ever since you were a kid. Maybe you were abused in a prior relationship. And every relationship you go into it with the hope that it will be different, but you can't get your head out of what happened to you in your past. Why? Because the scars run deep. Maybe it's an addiction, and you keep fighting, and you keep doing everything you know to do, and you don't want to be an addict anymore. But the scars run deep. And the only thing that you've found that covers the pain of those scars is whatever it is you're using. Maybe it's a marriage. Maybe today you're on your last legs of your marriage. And there's been so much hurt and so much pain both ways. And you just feel like the scars are too deep at this point. And how could God fix what is so broken? Again, The well is deep, and I don't think you can meet my need. My scars run deep. This is why we like to look for things that we can control in order to meet our need. This is why, when you get in an argument with your wife, this is why you just go and scroll on Facebook. Because you can control what you see. You can control what you look at. You can control who you talk to. That's why you message that high school flame. Because you can control what you get to meet your need.